But this movie also deals with tragedy, too. The deaths of Bubba and Mrs. Gump really, really take their toll on Forrest. Oh, yeah. Lieutenant Dan also suffers with the loss of his legs and blames Forrest for not letting him die honorably. Mm-hmm. Which I've never understood that mentality of, let me die.
Just because you don't understand me.
It's not a criticism. It's something I don't understand. I've never understood. And then you got Jenny's involvement in the peace movement, objecting to the U.S. involvement in Vietnam. Because Vietnam does take a huge chunk of this movie up.
Oh, yeah. The Vietnam is a big base of this movie. Because also it's the time period, too. That's what... it's what was going on.
And, it was the late 60s, early 70s, and Forrest was a young man, so obviously he would have got drafted and stuff like that. But he overcome a lot of obstacles and led a rich and meaningful life, if you believe his tales. Which I do, but I don't. They're embellished. I'm sorry. He has an IQ of 75 and is at least a savant. Mm-hmm. But, and we'll get to this here in a minute. Lieutenant Dan overcomes his lack of legs and becomes an able sea captain, and gets over the prejudice of Vietnamese people by becoming engaged to a Vietnamese woman. Now,
that has happened. I've actually seen cases of that. People. Yeah, instances of that. Yeah,
he's not prejudiced to Vietnamese people. He's married to one.
Right.
Even Jenny eventually settles down and becomes at peace with her life with Forrest, but she does have unprocessed anguish and is portrayed as the whore of Babylon, undeserving of anything happy in her life. That's what this movie did to her.
I love the fact that you are so Team Jenny in this, that you're just like, F the police when it comes to everything else. And I love that you just sort of took this, I'm going to stand up for the female in this story mantle. That makes me...
Well, it's not because Jenny's female, it's because of how shockingly they portrayed her.
I know, but still.
But I get what you're saying.